Did you see what she's wearing? Yeah, wearing a tracksuit to open house school day is so thoughtless. I'm guessing both the husband and wife could be unemployed. Poor kid. Even if they are unemployed, at the very least they should have worn something other than a tracksuit for the open house. It's embarrassing for an adult. As soon as I entered the classroom, I could see the other parents whispering about my attire. I don't care. I don't care. I kept repeating this to myself as I walked on. Once they knew who I really was, they wouldn't have anything to say. My name is Lisa Hamilton, and I'm 39 years old. I live with my husband and daughter. Our daughter, Emily, started elementary school this September. I can't believe how fast time has flown by since Emily was just a baby. My husband and I married in our early 20s, but we were not blessed with a child for a long time. Emily is the child we were finally able to have after overcoming painful infertility treatments. Though it's quite common for women to give birth in their 30s in cities, in the area where we live, most women give birth in their 20s. I live in a place that is not my hometown, so I don't have many acquaintances. I'm significantly older than Emily's friends' mothers. Making friends of my own age in this environment was hard enough, let alone making mom friends. But as long as Emily is having fun at school, that's all that matters to me. One evening, while I was preparing dinner, Emily handed me a piece of paper. Here, I got this at school today. Mr. Adams told me to give this to either Dad or Mom. Is that so? Thanks, honey. It was a notice about the open house at school. The date was set for 3 weeks later, at 2 p.m. Checking my schedule, it happened to be on my day off. I'll be coming to the open house, Emily. I'm looking forward to it. Really? Mom, yay! Emily was so happy that she was hopping around. I've tried my best to be involved in raising her, but due to my busy work schedule, I was hardly able to participate in any preschool events. This open house will be the first school event for Emily. I would love to take videos and pictures, even if it's probably against the rules. Then, I noticed a handwritten comment from the teacher at the bottom of the notice. Apparently, there are various preparations that need to be done before the open house. I pinned the notice to the corkboard and resumed cooking dinner, and before I knew it, the day of the open house had arrived. I put on the guest slippers and headed for Emily's classroom. All the other moms had perfect hair and makeup, wearing beautiful clothes. As for me, I was in a tracksuit. My hair was in a ponytail, and I didn't have any makeup on. I had plans for the day off, but a sudden change required me to go to work, so I rushed over without having time to dress up properly. I was more comfortable this way, and considering today's circumstances, it worked out better for me. As I opened the door to the classroom and entered, I made eye contact with Emily. Emily smiled joyfully. The teacher wasn't there yet. As I walked towards a spot where I could see Emily's seat clearly, I could feel the other parents staring at me. Probably it was my attire that was causing this. I don't care, I told myself and moved forward. The classroom walls were adorned with class goals, a list of the school lunch menu, and children's drawings. It was a sight almost identical to what I used to see in elementary school. Parents were conversing with their close friends. Due to the small classroom, I couldn't help but overhear the conversation of Miss Martin and Miss Taylor, who were nearby. I and both of them are members of the PTA. Did you see her clothes? Yeah, wearing a tracksuit on Parent-Teacher Day is absurd. Maybe she's a bum. Or her husband too. I feel sorry for the kid. Even if she is a bum, she should wear something other than a tracksuit to Parent-Teacher Day. It's embarrassing for a grown adult. Miss Taylor, keep your voice down. She might hear you. Miss Martin, you're too worried. I don't care what a bum thinks about me. I didn't say anything wrong. Although their insults naturally hurt my feelings, I chose to ignore them. If I reacted here and started an argument with them, it would sour the atmosphere in the whole classroom. Above all, I didn't want Emily to see the ugly side of adults. Just a little time left until the start of the class. The class teacher, Mr. Adams, hadn't arrived yet. The bell rang, and the scattered children began to take their seats. Emily, who had been playing with her friends, also took her seat and turned around to wave at me with a smile. Seeing her smile, I felt I could persevere no matter what. At the same time as the chime for the start of class, Mr. Adams appeared. Then Miss Taylor walked through the gap between the children's desks towards Mr. Adams and said, Mr. Adams, do you have a moment before class starts?
Miss Taylor, what can I do for you?
It's difficult to talk about in the classroom. Can we talk in the hallway? Even though Miss Taylor and Mr. Adams went out to the hallway, their conversation was still clearly audible. Did you see that one of the parents is wearing a tracksuit? She looks like a bum.
No, I was preoccupied with preparing for the lesson and just entered the classroom.
That's her, standing at the back. Miss Taylor stuck her face out from the hallway, pointed at me, and continued. I understand there's no dress code for Parent-Teacher Day, but any person with common sense wouldn't choose to wear a tracksuit. It seems she has a considerable distaste for me. Mr. Adams, looking in the direction pointed out by Miss Taylor, seemed to have noticed me. Mr. Adams, are you listening to me? At any rate, as a PTA member and personally, I cannot accept a parent coming to Parent-Teacher Day in a tracksuit. Can you tell her to go home? Mr. Adams froze for a moment after looking at me, then turned pale and said,
Miss Taylor, she's not a bum. She's a businesswoman with annual sales of $10 million.
The words 10 million caused the children to react instantly, and the classroom began to stir. In contrast to the children, the parents remained indifferent. In fact, many of them were smirking. Mr. Adams, the teacher, glanced at me awkwardly. Mr. Adams, isn't there a mistake? The person in the sweatshirt hardly seems like a CEO making $10 million in annual sales.
Miss Taylor, please believe me. She's truly a respectable businesswoman.
Miss Taylor wouldn't listen and kept firing back her opinions at Mr. Adams. Miss Martin, who had been watching the scene with an anxious look, left for the corridor, probably to back up Miss Taylor. The kids, seeing that the lesson wouldn't start, got up from their seats and began to play. The parents were telling off the kids in place of the teacher. It was a shame that on the precious open class day, time was wasted on such trivial matters. I gathered my courage and called out to the teacher in a loud voice, Mr. Adams? He popped out his surprised face from the corridor and looked at me. If we continue like this, we won't have any time for the lesson. Could you start the lesson for the kids?
You're right. My apologies. Miss Taylor, let's talk after the lesson.
Miss Taylor seemed unconvinced, but reluctantly returned to the classroom.
Everyone, please take your seats. Let's begin the class. My apologies to the parents for making you wait. Now, our class leader Emily, could you lead us in starting the lesson?
Finally, the lesson started.
You all are expecting me to teach, right? Actually, I won't be giving the lesson today.
All the kids cried out in surprise, asking why. Even my daughter Emily looked at the teacher curiously.
That's because we have a special guest lecturer. Oh, by guest lecturer, I mean a special teacher.
The expressions of the kids and the parents changed to excited ones.
Let me introduce our guest lecturer, Miss Hamilton. Miss Hamilton, please come this way.
I started walking towards the podium. Seeing the completely surprised face of my daughter Emily, I couldn't help but laugh. From the back, I could hear the parents murmuring. I wrote my name in large letters on the blackboard and began to introduce myself. Hello everyone, I'm Lisa Hamilton, Emily's mom, sitting over there. Anyone seen the gym next to Central Park? I run that gym along with 5 others. Explaining my job to first graders in simple terms was a challenging task. Even though I had prepared beforehand, I ended up using words the kids might not understand. But thanks to their candid reactions, I was able to quickly revise the complex words into simpler ones. I told them that I'm the COO and my husband is the CEO. I spoke about the trainers, sports doctors, and other professionals we've produced from our gyms. Then a kid sitting in the front row asked why I decided to run a gym. My brother used to be a soccer player. He was very good, but he had a serious injury. Immediately the kids asked why. His soccer coach taught him the wrong training methods. Because of that, he broke both his kneecaps. After that, my brother had to quit playing soccer. The kids reacted differently, some expressing sympathy for my brother, some expressing anger at the coach, others inquiring about what a kneecap is. That's why I wanted to give the right knowledge to those aspiring to be coaches. My gym is not just for training, but also for learning. After finishing my introduction, I could finally move on to the main topic. Kids, do you know why I'm wearing a tracksuit? The classroom fell silent, as if it was a scene in a play. I was told to bring the clothes I wear for work by Mr. Adams. Do you understand what that means? Well then, let's start with some simple exercises that we can do standing up. I had the children stand up, and while explaining about joints and muscles, we moved our bodies together. Make sure you don't bump your arm into your friend next to you. The children happily participated in the exercise. The parents watching from the back observed warmly. Raise your hand if your arms are getting tired. Most of the children raised their hands. Congratulations to those who just raised their hands. Being tired is evidence that you've been training correctly. I sat the children down and talked about the importance of understanding our bodies and the benefits of physical activity. Everyone listened attentively to what I had to say. Some even took notes in their notebooks. Perhaps that child might become a trainer in the future. I was relieved to finish the class just in time.
Thank you, Miss Hamilton. Everyone, let's say thanks. Ready, go.
The children all said thank you and applauded for me. I felt incredibly proud. Although I had experience as a lecturer at workshops, this is my first time teaching a class to children in school, and I was nervous, but it seems to have been a success. After the class, a few children ran up to me. Their eyes were shining as they said, Emily's mom, You're amazing! So cool! Hearing the sincere feelings from the children made me happy. Emily also seemed to be in a good mood, receiving admiring glances from her classmates. In the past, juggling work and parenting was harder than I had imagined, and I thought about quitting my job several times. Most mothers around me were part-time workers or housewives, but I wanted to show Emily that her mom was working hard, and I worked with that mindset. It felt like my efforts had been rewarded. My decision was not wrong. While erasing my name written on the blackboard, I overheard a conversation between Miss Taylor and her son. Mom, it was noisy before the class started. I could hear your voice throughout the classroom. You were bad-mouthing Emily's mom, weren't you? I'm sorry. Mom didn't know about today's class content. Why can't you wear a tracksuit? It's not that you can't wear a tracksuit, but none of the other moms or dads in the classroom were wearing one, were they? But Mom, you always told me not to judge people by their appearance, right? Miss Taylor stammered, trying to laugh it off. I don't want to be like you, Mom. Kevin spat out a snide remark and left the classroom. Children can be so innocent and cruel. Miss Martin was comforting Miss Taylor, who didn't have the energy to chase after Kevin. They both nodded at me without saying a word and left the place.
Miss Hamilton, thank you so much for today. It was a wonderful class. Inviting you as a special lecturer was the right choice.
No, I'm the one who should be thanking you for this valuable experience.
I apologize if I caused any discomfort by not informing the parents about the class content in advance.
Don't worry about it. You've worked hard too, Mr. Adams. It's tough dealing with all kinds of parents.
Well, dealing with parents is part of a teacher's job.
I had a little chat with Emily and then left the classroom. Near the school gate, a woman approached me. I didn't remember her at all initially, but she turned out to be the mother of a girl in Emily's class, and it seems she had been watching my lecture earlier. She was a bit excited and praised my teaching style. Coincidentally, our homes were close by, so we ended up walking home together. During our conversation, I found a surprising number of things in common with her. Believe it or not, our hobbies, favorite foods, even our hometowns were the same. We quickly hit it off and exchanged contact information before parting ways for the day. When I got home and told Emily about this, it turned out that the kids had been friends even before their moms got to know each other. Since then, our families have become close. We're planning to have a barbecue at her place next week. Apparently, she's inviting other mom friends and their families too. I might be able to make some new mom friends as well. Unable to contain my excitement, I started searching for local craft beers to bring to the barbecue on my computer when Emily tapped me on the shoulder. What's up? Emily just smiled without answering. What? Why are you smiling? Bashfully, Emily gave me the most precious words. Mom, you're the best mom ever. What? Out of the blue like that? But thank you. That makes me so happy. I love you, Mom. With her little arms, Emily gave me a tight hug. I love you too, Emily. Holding back tears, I patted Emily's head. Thanks to Emily, I felt recharged. That night, as I thought about the upcoming barbecue next week, I fell asleep savoring the happiness of the day.